I think in the context of health.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah.
The Citizens Assembly gave us a number of options. They said risk, serious risk, or a real and substantial risk, and it's just how we go about defining that in legislation.
Okay, so what WHO says about that, it's on page 92 of the guidelines, is the fulfillment of human rights requires that women can access safe abortion when it's indicated to protect their health. Physical health is widely understood to include conditions that aggravate pregnancy and those aggravated by pregnancy. The scope of mental health includes psychological distress or mental suffering caused by, for example, coerced or forced sexual acts and diagnosis of severe fetal impairment. A woman's social circumstances are also taken into account to assess health risk. In many countries, the law does not specify the aspects of health that are concerned, but merely state that abortion is permitted to avert risk of injury to the pregnant woman's health. Since all countries that are members of WHO accept that its constitutional definition of health is a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely absence of disease or infirmity, this description of complete health is implied in the interpretation of laws that allow abortion to protect women's health.
Can I just ask on the back of that? So,
you still have time.
If we were to draft legislation which use those terms, serious risk or severe risk, we wouldn't be in line with the guidelines of WHO, because that only just talks about risk. Would that be fair to say?
I think you just have to ask yourself the question, how will this be defined? And not only how will it be defined in the policy, but how will it be applied in practice? Because at the end of the day, if you don't have abortion on request without specification of reason, then the person that decides about the abortion is a third party. It's the healthcare provider. And every healthcare provider, well, maybe they all think the same, but depending on the criminalization aspects and everything else, which ones are willing to broaden their interpretation of grounds. Some will, some won't. And I guess the question is that fair to women, you know, when one maybe will provide it for an expanded interpretation and another won't. So I think those are the kinds of questions that you have to ask when you start talking about these qualitative terms that aren't precise.
And it's also that risk is determined post-event, that we decide that something is serious or was not serious. You cannot anticipate whether a particular health condition or medical condition is actually going to become worse or not as it is happening. It's a case-by-case decision that cannot be, you know, anticipated and written about beforehand. So.
Thank you very much, Dr.